Before we start with the Parsha Shemini, I have something here for the people on Torah Anytime or YouTube or anybody who's watching or listening. So I have over here, I have the Haggadah rhymes. These are Haggadah rhymes. I'm going through the Pesach Haggadah, the Pesach Seder, for my kids, trying to find out. It's always a struggle, the Pesach Seder, trying to keep everybody interested, especially the adults. What I did was I went through the Pesach Seder and I put 23 sections of the Seder into rhyme. So that what the rhyme, the purpose of this is to use as an introduction, so then you could talk about it. So, for example, I'll just tell you what he called. I'm just going to read a couple of these. These are available for sale. I sell these. If anybody wants to buy it, I have the file. I send the file. I've sold it for a couple of years. These are, so it's $12, and you PayPal my my bank account, my bank account. I don't have a bank account. You can PayPal my email. I don't have, what's the other thing, Zelle? I don't have Zelle. I only have PayPal. So if anybody's interested, it's $12, and you PayPal it, Dovid B. Kaplan, B. Dovid, D-O-V-I-D, B as in baseball, basketball, badminton, busted Baltimore bridges, Kaplan, K-A-P-L-A-N. If you PayPal me, I'll send you the file. Please do not send it to anybody else. If you want it, so I'll just give you an introduction. I'll read you a couple of them because you could, even if you're a guest at the Seder, you could use it. We'd like to welcome all who are here for the biggest event of the entire year. There you go. So get ready to drink, to eat, and to listen. People without Seders don't know what they're missing. Look how happy you are. Don't you feel you're wise, right? You should see adults when I did this for kids, the adults they feel so good about themselves when they guess the rhyme word, and so on. And I'll give you what here. Here, like for Urchatz, we wash our hands at the sink, but it's not as easy as you. We hope you have a lot of hatzlacha, remembering not to make a. There you go. Look at that smile. There you go, Chaim. You should be the walking advertisement. And so on and so forth. And then we have, for example, 5 big tzaddikim were at the Seder. They didn't notice it getting later, and they were all having such a good time telling this story of Yetzias Mitz. Right. There you go. Rabbi. Is this good? You like this? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah had a beard, but something about it was a little weird. He went to sleep as usual one night. When he woke up in the morning, some had turned white. Where are you, Chaim? So although he was young, just 18, he said out loud, Harei ani keven shivim. But why did this happen, this little nace? Why was there a change in the hair on his face? There you go. Yeah, Chaim's back on his roll. He's 4 for 5. Yeah, he had a good day. And so on and so forth. And I found, because I struggle with the Pesach Seder, this is a struggle a lot of people have, especially when you have kids. The Seder is very tricky because on the one hand, it's, there's food and there's drink and everything else. The problem is that there's a text. There's a Jewish text. And that Jewish text could get very, very draggy and very, very boring, especially when two people start talking about one point, which gets sidetracked, and so on and so forth. So I found with I did this for my family, and I've gotten a very, very good feedback from people who have used it just to break, because every year it's the same. Especially if you have 2 Seders, and my kids got to the point where they actually ask for it, and the kids are, my kids are married already. They're, Daddy, let's do the rhymes. Hey kids, hey guys, let's get paid. No, they like it, and it keeps. And then I found the adults loved it. And adults just love guessing those rhymes. They just feel so smart when they guess the rhyme words. Wow, you look at that. So if anybody's interested, I sell them. So if anybody's interested, you can. Maybe we'll get an Ohr Somayach discount. Right. Ooh. Well, if it's 1 for 12, so it'll be 2 for 25. Okay, page 588. Vayhi bayom Shemini, on the 8th day of the inauguration of the temple, Kora Moshe la'Aaron ulevanov uleziknei Yisrael. Moshe summoned Aaron and his sons and the elders. Now, if you take a look at what he called, Rashi says, Shemini la miluim. It's the 8th day of the miluim. Can we get some airflow in here, by the way? Can we open doors, windows, something, because it's very, very stagnant. So it says it's the 8th day of the miluim. Now, the word kriya, Vayhi bayom kara Moshe la'Aaron ulevanov. So the commentaries say that Moshe is calling Aaron to send him up into the service. Now, you remember Moshe was supposed to be the Kohen Gadol. And Moshe lost the privilege of being the Kohen Gadol because he had protested too much when God originally sent him. So their commentators say the word Kara Moshe la'Aaron, Kara is a terminology of belovedness, which when Moshe was appointed the leader, what did we find Aaron's reaction was? What was Aaron's reaction when Moshe was appointed as the leader of the Jewish people? He was happy. Moshe was worried Aaron was going to be jealous. And then Hashem said, no, v'racha v'samach b'libo, he'll see you and he's going to rejoice in his heart. So you would expect, if you were going to be the Kohen Gadol, being a Kohen Gadol was a prominent position. You're the center of attention. You're wearing all the what do you call it, all the fancy threads and everything else. And it's going to be taken away from you. And by the way, in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, whoever was appointed Kohen Gadol, the other Kohanim had to make him wealthy. If he wasn't independently wealthy, the Kohen Gadol wasn't independently rich, the other Kohanim had to make him wealthy. Did you know that? You didn't know that. Well, now you know, and that's why I've sent in my application, right? There was a halacha. The Kohen Gadol had to be rich. So Moshe Rabbeinu, it's a prominent position, and you would expect that Moshe Rabbeinu, maybe there's a little underlying resentment here. Boy, now I got to go make him the Kohen Gadol. Korah is a term of belovedness. That Moshe Rabbeinu is showing the same way that Aaron wasn't jealous of me when I got the appointment, which, by the way, there's a parallel here. Because who was the leader? Remember, Moshe Rabbeinu ran away from Egypt when he was young. He was in Midian. He came back when he's 80 years old. He's gone for, by some estimation, 75 years. About 75 years. Who was the leader of the Jewish people while they were in Egypt? Aaron. So not only the younger brother was getting a position, he was getting his position. He was taking Aaron's position. And Aaron, he felt no resentment. Aaron was happy for Moshe Rabbeinu. So now Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron is now taking his position. So Moshe Rabbeinu feels the same generosity of spirit that Aaron had. So Moshe Rabbeinu feels that. Okay. Vayomer el Aaron, kach lecha egel ben boker lechatos. Take a calf as a sin offering. Ve'ayel le'ola tamimim, and a ram. Ve'hakrev lifnei Hashem. Now, you have over here, take a look at Rashi. It's the right column, 2 lines from the bottom. Kach lecha egel. What is the egel immediately called to mind? What? The chet egel, the sin of the golden calf. That was an egel, it was a calf. So what does Rashi say? Lehodia shemechaper lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu al yedei egel zeh, to let him know that Hashem is atoning through this calf al maisei ha'egel, for the incident of the golden calf. So he tells Aaron, so I want you to take an egel. Now, we have an interesting concept. On Yom Kippur, when Aaron went into the Holy of Holies, what garment didn't he wear? What garment didn't Aaron wear when he went into the Holy of Holies?
The stones.
He didn't wear the stones or that's the stone plate that did it, right? Or any of the other. There were 4 golden ornaments. He didn't wear the gold. When he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, he didn't wear the gold. Why not? Remember the famous statement the Gemara says? Ein kategor nasa sanegor. The prosecutor cannot become the defense attorney. What was the prosecutor? The golden calf. So now if you're going to go into the Holy of Holies for the Jewish people on Yom Kippur, you're not going to be wearing gold, because the gold is it's a reminder of the prosecutor. Sometimes in life you have to be careful. The thing that's a reminder of something unpleasant into interpersonal situations, and make sure keep it out of the picture. Don't bring that into the picture. So Aaron is get the prosecutor, which is the gold. So Aaron doesn't wear gold when he goes into the Holy of Holies. So why over here is Aaron taking this egel? He's taking this calf, which, I mean, if gold reminds you of a golden calf, then a calf certainly reminds you of a calf. So why is he taking a calf? He's taking an egel, and he's going to use the egel as an atonement for the egel. Here's the question. This is a famous question everybody asks. Why did he take that? The answer is that when you take the item itself, what was Aaron doing in a Kodesh HaKodeshim? He's going in there to pray to daven for the Jewish people. He's going in to do a mitzvah. When you're going in to do a mitzvah, don't do a mitzvah with something. Don't do a mitzvah with something that's an unpleasant reminder. Here he's trying to get an atonement. What's the best way to get an atonement in life? How do you know if somebody's a Baal Tshuva? You know, the Gemara says, how do you know if somebody's truly a Baal Tshuva? When do you know that somebody's truly a Baal Tshuva? I don't mean Baal Tshuva in our terms, and in the vernacular. I mean, the person has sinned and has done tshuva. The Gemara says, when the Gemara talks about sinning, and whenever the Gemara talks about sinning, it doesn't mean that guy was wearing shatnez. Right? When the Gemara talks about sinning, it doesn't mean that he didn't wait 6 hours between meat and milk. Sinning means immorality. That's what sinning is referring to in the Gemara. Sinning is what the battle of life. That's what the Gemara is talking about. The Gemara says, if a person has the same opportunity, under the same circumstances, with the same female type person, and he walks away from it, then he's a Baal Tshuva. Ain't kategor nasa sanegor. Well, it shouldn't be, I mean, so what do you call that? No, it doesn't work that way. That, to the contrary, that's an indication that you have overcome the temptation. So if Aaron is taking a calf now, the golden calf, he's taking a calf, he's taking an egel, and he's going to go sacrifice it, that's the ultimate demonstration that I don't believe in a calf. Because what are you doing? You're taking this calf and you're shechting this calf and serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu with it. The other one, you were serving the calf itself. Now we're actually we're shechting the calf and showing you that the calf is meaningless. That's how you gain an atonement. The atonement, that often in life, the atonement is by actually getting into the same situation and not stumbling. We don't say in kategor nasa sanegor over there. But if a person is going to do a mitzvah, I wouldn't, I want to give tzedakah. I'm going to give tzedakah. I'll give this poor man a nice piece of gold. I want to give a poor man a piece of gold. You know what kind? I'll give him a piece of gold shaped like a calf. Right? That's not a good idea. Don't go giving golden calves to people. What do you call it? There's something indiscreet about that. There's something that inappropriate about that. But if I'm going to get an atonement, so else how do you get the atonement? You get the atonement by undoing the very thing that you did. You served the golden calf. Therefore, you have to go and you have to shech the calf. That's what the commentary said. Okay. Now, there's a big question over here. And it's very, very... So it says like this, Vel b'nei Yisrael tedaber lemor, speak to the Jewish people, kichus seir izim lechataf, take a goat as a sin offering, ve'egel ve'keves u'b'nei shana temimi le'ola. Take a goat as a sin offering, and a calf and a sheep, b'nei shana temimi le'ola. So you take a goat and you take a calf and you take a sheep. What is this goat an atonement for? Why are you taking a goat? What's a goat an atonement for? Where was there ever a sin for the Jewish people? Where did they ever do something wrong involving a goat? What? When he deceived his father. Okay, but that wasn't wrong. That Rivka told him to do that. That was fine. Not only that, Targum said that was she had a prophecy to do it. So he didn't do something. He did deceive. Sometimes in life you got to deceive. Like if you eat something, if your wife serves you something, yeah, and it was okay. It was okay, but you're not going to say it was okay. You're going to say it was absolutely delectable, right? So that's permissible deception, otherwise called survival, right? Your life is in peril just then, right? That's okay. So what I told the guys. Somebody I just read that the easiest way to get a woman to change her mind is by agreeing with her. It's such a profound line. So the what do you call it? Where else do we find a goat? Where do we find a goat, guys? A goat. Paro? The calf ta'azazel is not, you're getting two stories mixed up. The brothers didn't throw a calf ta'azazel. The calf ta'azazel is in Parshas Vayikra and Achremos. That's an offering, not an offering. That's a Torah command, the seir la'azazel. But where was it? What happened with the brothers? What did he say?
The brothers killed one and dipped the extended.
Correct. They deceived Yaakov with the goat, and that was not a permissible deception. So the Medrash says over here, this goat is an atonement for the brothers deceiving Yaakov. What's the obvious question? What's this got to do with anything over here now? I mean, a day late and a dollar short. You know, we're already in the Mishkan in the what do you go? Well, now you're worrying about atonements for Yosef's goat. What happened over here? The answer is that the brothers have a good claim. The brothers have a good claim. What was the claim? Let's go back to that story for a second. Yosef goes to Yaakov, and he brings reports about the brothers' behavior or misbehavior, as the case may be. Okay, Yosef goes. Now, what are you normally supposed to do? What are you normally supposed to do if you see somebody misbehaving? Somebody in Judaism, you're misbehaving. What are you supposed to do? Depends on what?
If they're going to listen to you or not.
Good. Assuming they're going to listen to you. Good. Excellent. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to, try to correct them. And by the way, correcting doesn't mean getting, walking out to the street with stones. There is a step before that. Before you get to throwing stones at people, you could talk to them also. You are allowed to talk to them. Sometimes you can't talk. Pinchas didn't talk. He took a spear and he killed the two people. There was no time for conversation over there. There was no well, what about some dialogue? The leftists all want dialogue. Why couldn't Pinchas talk to them? Why couldn't he be a vegetarian? Sometimes there's no. Pinchas was not a vegetarian. Pinchas was into spearing protein. He wasn't into vegetarian. Okay, but sometimes somebody's doing something wrong. You tell him. The brothers are, hey, Yosef, what are you snitching on us for? Why don't you come over? Why don't you tell us? Why did you talk to us? So they have it would seem that they have a defense. You know why we did this? Because he did wrong. When is their claim set aside? Their claim is set aside. When is their claim refuted? You know when their claim is refuted? At the golden calf. Because what happened at the golden calf? There was a man named Hur. And what did Hur do? Hur tried to rebuke the Jewish people. And what did they do to Hur? They killed him. Yeah, that didn't work out well. Hur tried to rebuke them, so they killed Hur. Oh, you killed the guy who rebuked you? So retroactive. Here's retroactivity again. Here's retroactivity. Where are you, Dylan? Retroactivity. Limafreya. Right, retroactivity we say by the brothers also. And if Yosef would have rebuked you, what would have been? We see how you treat rebukers. So you now we see retroactively, from the golden calf, you see retroactive to the brothers, that rebuke wouldn't have helped. Therefore, they need an atonement. That's what the Meshech Chochmah says. The Meshech Chochmah says that the golden calf is an indication that the rebuke to the brothers wouldn't have worked as well. Okay, now, I want to show you something else, one of the main points I want to get to today. Take a look at Pasuk Vav. Vayikhu es kol asher tziva Moshe. Sorry, Pasuk Hey. Vayikhu es kol asher tziva Moshe es pnei Ohel Moed. They took what Moshe commanded to Ohel Moed. Vayikrevu kol ha'eda. The people came near. Vayamdu lifnei Hashem. They stood before Hashem. Now, the commentaries say over here, and this is something I think we've all struggled with. We all have this. There are certain days when you get up in the morning and you're really into it. Right? I'm davening, my favorite. Leather on the arm at 7 a.m., my favorite. Right? Then you go, and good, let's go learn. A tosfos. Right? Nothing like a tosfos. French fries and tosfos, my favorite. That's a tosfos sandwich. And what do you call it? You're just and there's a little old lady on the street and you want to help her. You got to get up on the bus and give up your seat for a little old man, whatever. And you're just really buzzing. There are other days where we are completely flat. Like somebody shook up a Pepsi and let out all the bubbles. Right? You're just flat. Everything is like davening. Davening is like I'm saying words. It's all words. I'm not connecting at all. Learning, I got other things on my mind besides Tosos. Interpersonal relationships, get it yourself. It's just not happening. So what do you do then? This is a mistake people make. The mistake is in Judaism, there's a rule. Listen carefully what I'm telling you, because this applies down the line as well. There are certain days you got to just go through the motions. Because if you don't go through the motions, we have a setback. I have a setback right now. I really don't feel like davening. So what am I going to do? I'm just not going to daven. I'm going to stay in my room. I'm going to sleep late and not going to daven at all. The next day you got two struggles. A is to get out of your bed, and B is to then daven. You got two struggles. Go through the motions, and then but you're still only one game back. You lose a doubleheader, you're 2 games back. Should happen to the White Sox soon. But if you what do you call it? If you go through the motions, so you're still in shape. You're still in shape. Just stay in shape. Just go through the motions. It's extremely important in Judaism that sometimes I just don't feel like it. I'm just not into it right now. That's okay. Do it anyway. By the way, that's part of being an adult. Part of being an adult is that you do what you have to do, not you do what you want to do. A teenager, I was just talking, my wife and I were talking, teenagers are this, nobody has ever really come up with the correct definition of this creature called a teenager. And I look at a teenager, you ever see a cow grazing? I was looking at birds the other morning outside my house. There are a bunch of doves outside my house. They're eating. What do animals do all day, every day? What do animals do? All animals. All they do is walk around looking for food. And I don't know if they ever go to the library. I don't know. I don't know if they don't have. I never see animals going like this. Only people with less brains than animals are doing this. I never see animals doing that. But the animal all day long they're looking for satisfaction, looking for food. That's what a teenager is. A teenager walks around all day long looking for personal gratification in any area, whether it's food or whether it's entertainment or whatever it is. A teenager is completely focused on himself. If he doesn't feel like doing it, he just doesn't do it. An adult does what you have to do when you have to do it because it's got to be done. My daughter just had twin daughterlets, whatever they're called. Yeah. Two. What do you call it? Somebody called me up. He said, "Mazel tov, Rabbi. I got two more feminists in the family." I'll get him, right? So it's like with twins. It's like with one. It's like with twins. They got to take shifts at night. Get up and you put one to sleep. The other one cries. I don't feel like getting up. Oh, you don't, do you? So who's going to take care of the babies? Who's going to take care? When I was going out with my wife when we met her on Shidduchim, so I said to her, "By the way, I just want to tell you, I don't do diapers." I said to my wife, "By the way, I just want you to know I don't do diapers." She said to me either. Now what? I did them. Did them like the best of them. I did it. Hey, I want to do it. It's not that I enjoy it. No. I got better things to do. But it's got to be done. That's an adult. That's what Yiddishkeit is. Are you an adult or you're not an adult? When it comes to Yiddishkeit, I don't feel like davening. So what? I don't care if you feel like it or not. You got to do it. You got to do it anyway. I don't feel like learning right now. Anybody can learn when they feel like learning. Had a Rabbi used to say that. Anybody can learn when they feel like learning. Right now, I don't feel like learning. Okay. So what? So you don't feel like learning. I don't feel like learning. What's going to happen when you have a job? When you got to go to work? You say to the boys, "Well, today I'm not coming in." Why not? I don't feel like it. You don't, huh? They have long lines of unemployed people like that. I don't feel like it. Yiddishkeit, what? You don't feel. Vayikru. So it says like this. Vayikru v'kol ha'eda v'yamdu l'fnei Hashem. They came before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They stood before Hashem. What? Every single one of the people standing there felt like standing in front of Hashem? You stood before Hashem because that's what you have to do. So sometimes people say, "But I don't get any fulfillment. I don't feel fulfillment in what I'm doing." This is like sometimes the feminists say that. Not that I have anything against feminists. Sorry, not that I have everything against feminists. Right? I don't get fulfillment in my role. So there's a famous story. This girl comes to, the girl came to, I think it was Resha Ber Soloveitchik. So I want to wear tzitzis. So he said to her, "Why do you want to wear tzitzis?" "I'm not fulfilled in my role. I want to wear tzitzis because men get to wear tzitzis." So he said to her, "Listen, tzitzis is a very potent, powerful mitzvah. You can't just take on the whole thing at once. What I want you to do is here's a 4-cornered garment. Wear this 4-cornered garment. You got to break it in a little bit at a time. So he gives her the four-cornered garment. She wears the four-cornered, scampers off happily, comes back next day. He said, how did that feel? She said, yeah, that was so spiritual. He says, what are you talking about? It was a piece of cloth. That's all you were wearing. It has zero significance whatsoever. And you get, I have to feel spiritual. I feel spiritual. Go drink it, take a couple of shots of Glenlivet, and you'll feel spiritual. That's not, we're not, I don't care how we hope you feel, and most of the time we do feel it. Most of the time when you're doing the right thing, but what about the days when it's blah? That's what the Torah is telling you. 1 second, more. Vayomer Moshe, Zeh Dover, now pay attention carefully. Vayomer Moshe, Zeh Dover asher tziva Hashem tasu. This is what Hashem has commanded, you shall do it. V'yera aleichem kavod Hashem. And then the glory of Hashem will be seen. Fulfill the following and Hashem will be seen. They're going to go through the entire service, and then the divine presence of God will rest on the Mishkan. Now listen carefully. There are two levels of what we call, what's the word? Hanhaga, the way God relates to the world. Did you ever hear, there's a pasuk, did any of you say Shir Hashirim on Erev Shabbos? You know, we say Song of Songs on Erev Shabbos. So it says, Hine zel meidach harkas leinu, this stands behind our wall. Mashgiach min hachalonos, he supervises us from the windows. Meitzitz min hacharokim, he peeks between the cracks. So there are two levels of how God relates to the world. Stay with this. Mashgiach min hachalonos, God supervises us from the windows, so to speak, or he peeks at us through the cracks. What's the difference? What's the difference between, what is that referring to? God peeks, watches us, he supervises through the windows, or he peeks at us through the cracks. What's the difference between the two of them? Anybody got a difference? What's the difference? What do you say?
Through the window he can see only one of you, but through the crowd he's seen one of you through many people, like unique.
You were close. When somebody's looking at you through a window, what do you see? You could usually see back. Somebody's looking at you through a window, you could generally see it. Maybe you don't see it 100% clearly, but you can see the person looking at you. You can see the person through the window. When somebody's looking at you through a crack, what is?
Crack.
And when he looks through the crack, what do you see? If you look through a crack, you can't see him. He can see you, you can't see him. By the way, do you know that in the Birkas Kohanim, you know the Kohanim do the priestly blessing everywhere? Any of you Kohanim? You're a Kohen? No kidding. Truma Ohr Somayach Truma, I'm going to be getting, so you have to find somewhere else, by the way. I'm just telling you, I'm in on it already. And don't even bother applying to be Kohen Gadol. So when we do the priestly blessing in the morning, this is what the hands look like. The hands are put like, they're different, some do it like this. The way our custom is like this, right hand a little higher than the left hand, with the thumbs touching like this. And that's how we do the priestly blessing. That's how we do with the thing. Now, the reason we do it is based on this pasuk. There are supposed to be five cracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's based on this pasuk, Meitzitz, Hashem peaks, min hacharokim, from the cracks, which breaks into hey charokim, 5 cracks. Hacharokim, the first letter is a hey, which is 5. Now, God looking at us through a window, and we seeing God, what does that indicate? That indicates miraculous hanhaga. That means God's relating us miraculously. That's what's all beyond nature. Why? Because anything beyond nature, we sense it when we see it. If that's something when there's a splitting of the sea, and when manna falls from heaven, so you see the hand of God clearly. That means God's supervising us, but we're looking right back. We see him. Yeah, obviously, when's the last time you had manna falling from heaven? Right? When's the last time you had a splitting of the sea? So when you have what's called hanhaga nisis means miraculous interaction with God. So it's the same thing as somebody, he's looking at us through the window, and we see who's looking at us through the window, because we perceive God very clearly when it's not beyond nature. But natural law, which is the world we're trapped in today, so then, God sees us, but we're not so sure that, that's the challenge, is to make sure that even though it's hidden within nature, like the Purim story, that we see that it's actually the hand of God. What's the determining factor how God's going to deal with us? Obviously, our behavior. If we're on a high enough level, so then there's going to be manna, and there's going to be splitting of seas and all sorts of good things. If in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, there were blatant miracles in the time of the Beis Hamikdash that were happening in the Beis Hamikdash. The fire on the altar was shaped like a lion. Whoa. Let's see you do that. Let's see, that's pretty cool, yeah? Let's see you do that. Or you consulted with the Kohen Gadol, and he got, what do you call it, and the Urim V'Tumim lit up. The letters lit up on the thing, and you go to a prophet, and the prophet could tell you where your lost donkeys are. That'd be pretty cool. Get a tip on the market from the prophet. Right? Shaul Melech is looking for his donkey, so he goes to Shmuel Hanavi. Oh, the donkeys were found already, but you're going to be king. No, that was a good day for him. But he went to a prophet. Then all of a sudden we're stuck in this world now where it's all hidden. So you go to the train, and just as it happened to me this morning, as soon as I got to the train, I barely had a break stride. I got to the station and basically got on the train. The train just pulled up, right, the door opened up, and boom. Don't you love when that happens? Just boom. That happens a lot, right? That's natural. Well, you know, there are plenty of mornings it doesn't happen to me. Like this morning when my bus didn't show up and I waited 15 minutes. So at least I made it up on the back end. The train stopped right in front of me. That's natural? You don't see it clearly. It's not as clear. We don't know what kind of miracle it was. We don't know what would have happened with that train. That's what the Torah says over here. Vayikru es asher tziva Moshe pnei ol beit vayikru pasuk vav vayomer Moshe zeh hadavar asher tziva Hashem tasu. This is what Hashem commanded you should do. Oh, if you do what Hashem commands, then you know what's going to be? V'yera aleichem kvod Hashem. Then you will see Hashem's glory clearly. That means the ability to see, to get to that dimension above nature, depends only on us. If we would do the first part of the pasuk, Zeh hadavar asher tziva Hashem tasu, if we would do that, then we'd get to the next level up, which is that we would see Hashem's dealing with us beyond natural law. Okay. One other idea. I'll tell you a story first. When I told you I must have told you this in the past, I'll tell you anyway. By the way, for anybody who's watching on Torah Anytime or YouTube, these are the Haggadah rhymes which are available for $12. At my PayPal, you PayPal Dovid B. Kaplan is my Gmail through PayPal. Dovid D-O-V-I-D, B as in baseball, basketball, badminton, busted bridges in Baltimore, Kaplan K-A-P-L-A-N. And this could be yours. It's a skula, by the way. Anybody who's ever bought this, very, very shortly afterwards, I had $12. That's the skula. What do you call it? So my wife and I, when we were married, so we did not have children for 8 years. We had three miscarriages, and we did not have children. About 7 years, we were married about 7 years, and it was a vacation, Bein Hazmanim. So we went on a trip to Tzfas. We went on a trip to Tzfas with my parents and a couple of my parents' friends, and my grandmother, Leah Shalom, my bubby, she was with us too. So we're walking around, they took us to all these old shuls in Tzfas, which apparently survived earthquakes and all sorts of magical things that happened. And at one point, we got into one of the shuls, and the tour guide says to us, see that chair over there? There's a big chair. And he says, that chair, there's a legend, that chair, any couple that does not have children, if they sit in that chair together, they'll have a son within the year. So of course my bubby was there. My bubby's looking at my mother, she's going, like that. And my mother was, they heard, they saw, So they all went into the other room. There was a second room in the shul. Everybody went into the other room. So my wife and I are left there. And I said to my wife, listen, I don't know what we did wrong that we don't have children yet, but it can't be we're being punished because we didn't sit in that chair. And therefore, we are not going to sit in the chair. And then within a year, we had a son. How do you like that? No. How do you like that, Shai? Oh, look at that. Wasn't the end of the story. You don't know what you were expecting, was it, Shai? No. That wasn't what you were expecting. And now I'm going to tell you something else. Now there are two ways to interpret data. Not only you'd have to, if you sit in the chair, but if you only see the chair, it works. That's how powerful it is. No, sorry, Shai. No, that's not the takeaway here. The takeaway is that we're not silly in Yiddish. I want to tell you, it was a lot of pressure. It wasn't easy. Because at that point, you're desperate. You'll do anything. So when my wife was first expecting, somebody said, do you want a boy or a girl? So I said, well, at this point, we'll take a monkey. What do you call it? You're laughing. You haven't seen what my kids look like. But what do you call it? At the end of the day, you're desperate. It was hard. And I just felt, I don't have children. But I should also not have any intelligence. That also I shouldn't have any. They say, yeah, plunge ahead. Why am I bringing this up? The Torah says, do what Hashem commanded. There's no gimmickry in Yiddishkeit. No gimmicks. No gimmicks. The Torah says to do it. The Torah says people are always looking for a skula. It's a skula. It's a good luck charm. It's a skula. The biggest skula is to not talk lashon hara, to give tzedakah, and to learn a little Torah. That's the biggest skula you could have. And Dovid also. That's also good. And be nice to people. That's the biggest skula. Then on top of that, you could worry about all the other doodads. But at the end of the day, people are always looking for the quick fix, or microwave it. Let's get a skula over here, some skula action. And so my reaction was, I don't understand. If the chair is so efficient, why did they leave all these chairs in Tzfas? What about the people in Yerushalayim who need children? Why do you have to make everybody go up to Tzfas? Why is it the magical chair? So he didn't sit in the chair. So how do you like that? Did not sit in the chair. And as I spoke to Rabbi Aaron Feldman, who was the Rosh Yeshiva today of the Ner Yisrael, Baltimore Yeshiva, one of the Gedolei Ador, and I spoke to Rabbi Aaron. I told him what happened. He said that's probably that was the merit, right? That we didn't sit in the chair. Because why that's what Yiddishkeit has come to. Yiddishkeit is that everybody roll the dice. It's like if you ever played Monopoly. I'm sure you have. Right? And you need that big spin. A 6, you're on free parking and you got the pot. A 7, boom, hotel, you're out of the game. Right? So what happens? You're sitting there like this. Come on. I got one question. Who are you talking to? You talking to the dice? Talking to the dice? Then you got much bigger problems than landing on a hotel. You got much bigger issues if you're talking to dice. Talking to dice doesn't work. We don't talk to dice in Yiddishkeit. Talk to dice in Yiddishkeit. Do what we're supposed to do. Do what you're told to do. Don't do what we want to do. None of this quick fix business. And that's what the Torah is telling you. Do what Hashem says, then Hashem's glory appears. But do what Hashem says. Don't make things up in Yiddishkeit. Okay. Take a look at Perek Tes, Pasuk Zayin. One more pasuk. Vayomer Moshe el Aaron, Krav el HaMizbeach, approach the altar, 6 lines to the bottom. Moshe says to Aaron, approach the Mizbeach, v'asei es chatoscha v'esoloscha, bring your sin offering and your burnt offering, v'chaper ba'adcha uva'ad ha'am, atone for yourself and for the nation. Va'asei es korban ha'am, and do the korban of the people, v'chaper ba'adam kasher tziva Hashem. So Moshe says to Aaron, approach the altar. Take a look at Rashi. Left column, second line from the top. Krav el HaMizbeach, Shehaya Aaron Bosh v'yoreh, if you see it, throw the person next to you. Left column on 588. Left column, second line to the top. Krav el HaMizbeach. Shehaya, why did Moshe have to urge him? Shehaya Aaron Bosh v'yoreh. Aaron was embarrassed and afraid, lageshes, to approach. Amar lo Moshe, lama ata bosh, why are you ashamed? Why are you embarrassed? Lekach nivcharta, this is what you've been chosen for. Why was Aaron embarrassed? Why is Aaron embarrassed? He's a little nervous. I mean, I was the catalyst, at least in the active making of the golden calf, and now I'm going to bring a calf towards the altar. I don't know how this is going to work out. And Moshe says to Aaron, what are you embarrassed about? This is why you were chosen. You were chosen to demonstrate that you're not guilty, because you only went through the motions. You weren't doing it intentionally. You were doing it to stall off the Jewish people. It's a merit for you. That's why you've been chosen to bring this offering. That's one of the approaches. But I saw a different shot. Why are you embarrassed? Lekach nivcharta. The word lekach could be understood as this is what you were chosen for, or it could be understood as lekach nivcharta. This is why you were chosen. Why were you chosen? Because you're hesitant. That's why you were chosen. Because you're hesitant to do it. That's why you're chosen. I mean, the person who's appointed to a position of prominence. This is a very big prominent position. And Aaron is sitting there, I don't think I'm worthy. That's why you're worthy. That's exactly why you're worthy, because you don't think you're worthy. That's why it says, if a person chases honor, honor flees away from him. When you chase honor, honor runs away from you. The only way if you run away from honor, so honor pursues you. And if you chase after honor runs away from you. So this guy comes to the rabbi, he says, Rabbi, I keep running away from honor, but it's not chasing me. So he says, yeah, it's a problem because you keep looking back over your shoulder to see if it's chasing you or not. So he says to Aaron, that's why you were chosen. Your greatest merit is the fact that you don't want to do it. Yeah, that you feel you're unworthy to do it. Yeah.
So then reward Moshe Rabbeinu also, because even more so, he pushed away against it to become the leader.
He did, and that's why he became the leader. That's why he ended up the leader. That one. That guy, he was supposed to be there, then he got taken away. That got taken away because he pushed back. No, he pushed back against it too much. He pushed back to it. You know the halacha, if they ask you to daven for the Yomad in Shul. Let's say they ask you to be the chazan, the shliach tzibur in Shul. Let's start assuming you're capable of davening for the Yomad. So they say they do us a favor, could you be the chazan on Shabbos, daven Musaf for the Yomad? So first you're supposed to say, nah. There's a whole, then he says a second time, oh, come on, please. And you're like, then you're like, He said, please. All right. You don't grab at it. Grabbing at it is like eating meat without salt. That's what the Gemara says. It hasn't been flavored. There's something, you're like, you want to daven for the Yomad? Yeah! It's a little, on the other hand, you don't refuse too much. Because that's like oversalting the meat. That's what the Gemara says. The meat is oversalted. You spoil the meat. Don't oversalt. You asked to do something. You're worthy of it. You got a good voice. You're capable of doing it. Don't show there's something lacking class to show that you're overeager. Don't be overeager. Okay. Then when you daven for the Yom, but then everybody will regret that he asked you. But that's something else. Yeah. The what do you call it? This guy comes to a guy comes to the rabbi. He says, I'm having trouble with my haughtiness. I'm a chazan in the shul, and I'm belting him out over there, and I'm pretty full of myself. There I am, and I'm, So the rabbi says, well, just take the talus off your head, turn around and look at the people laughing at you, and you'll be humbled. All right, see you tomorrow.